Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Linfield Coaches CatChat on the Linfield Sports Network. Our first of the year for the Linfield men's basketball program. Joe Stuart here with head men's basketball coach Shanan Rosenberg. Coach Rose, how you doing today?
I'm great. Just getting ready for a new season, Joe.
I know, and it's got to be exciting too. Of course, on the horizon is your first full season in 2 years, obviously, after only getting to play 12 games this last season. But I imagine the team's got to be pretty excited and have high expectations for themselves after, of course, winning their first conference championship in 20 years back in 1920, going 12-2, I believe it was, last season through the shortened year. And, of course, returning some really talented players. What's the energy around the team right now heading into the start of the year?
Well, it's great. We got an amazing group of guys, great leadership, talent in all of our classes. And the new players this year have blended in well with everyone. And, of course, I think they all realize, how good of a team we can be. And that naturally is going to evoke some, optimism and excitement. But mostly, they enjoy working together, and they're fierce competitors. And with the absence of last year's normalcy, kind of reclaiming the joy that comes with the daily grind and of a regular season, I think has been just that. I think it's been very joyous for the whole group.
And looking back at last season really quickly, obviously going into or at the end of 1920, you had certainly hoped that 2021 would be a year that, you guys make the national tournament, start to announce yourself on that stage after having risen, becoming one of the best teams in the conference. Didn't get to do that, but I imagine there's still a lot of positives to have pulled from the shortened season, even if it wasn't, the most diverse group of opponents or all of that. It seemed like there was still a lot of learning opportunities.
Well, yeah, you're always trying to we made lemonade. We had, we had the hand we were dealt, and we just played it. And I think we got as much as we could out of it, and it was certainly better than not playing at all. It's unfortunate. You can look at it a lot of different ways. It's unfortunate because I thought we had a team that could have competed for another championship. I thought we had a team that could have done a lot of things, but that's really irrelevant and kind of moot. But I think just the ability to start to galvanize relationships with some younger players. Our freshmen last year were probably put in the most unique circumstance of any freshman class, and really all freshmen last year in the world, really, were experiencing something that was fairly unprecedented, certainly in their lives and in our lives. And for them to overcome that and to work through that, and I think the team experience, just speaking to our team now in our group, I think was a critical piece in just allowing those kids to feel a part of something, to get the kind of at least basketball investment and experience that brought about some excitement for this year, and enabled them to have at least reclaim some normalcy in a very difficult year.
So let's talk about your younger players a little bit. As you mentioned, it was a very unique situation for the guys that were incoming last year. Do you feel like this is going to be more like you've got two freshman classes as they face a full slate of competition, or do you think that experience has made them ready to fill in some pretty significant bench roles? Obviously, your starting group, and we'll get to them in a minute, is a bunch of guys who have played plenty of minutes throughout their career. But where does the concerns lie with not having to develop against a full slate, that other top opponents in the conference, non-conference opponents, those sort of things?
I'm not sure I understand your question, but I think that I don't know that the freshmen, the COVID eligibility thing, I think for all sports will play itself out based on who can afford to go to school and who's having success, and people aren't going to pay for an extra half a year that they can't afford, don't need, or maybe they have something lined up in a professional vocational side of things that at that point in their lives may seem more important. So those things will take its course. That's quite different than having guys that are on full scholarship. that they don't, where finances isn't an issue. That's a very real thing at our level. So that will work itself out over a couple of years. But that group of freshmen was able to play in some of our games, and some more than others, obviously, which happens in any year. But I feel good about the distribution of talent and the guys we have in our classes, and they're really amazing people. Some guys are more advanced with their basketball than others, but I'm very fortunate to have the guys we have, and really enjoy being around them every day.
And shifting to the returners a little bit, you returned 2 fifth-year seniors in Dempsey Rogenbuck and Max Lohman, 2 guys who have been big pieces of this team's success over the last few years. Another senior in Aaron Bonney, and guys in Alec Jasko, Carson Bonine, who have been major rotation contributors.
Sure.
What are your expectations for this starting group, not just playing-wise, but also leadership-wise?
Well, I don't know that my expectations are as important as theirs. And they have high expectations, and they have great maturity. And we're very fortunate right now to have wisdom and maturity on our team. That's really a benefit for our younger players. It's a huge benefit for me as a coach in terms of not having to worry about accountability as much, because there's a lot of peer accountability that comes with that kind of maturity and leadership. And our guys have just done a really terrific job at kind of self-monitoring, and but also I think understanding how important it is to build trust and bring the group together. And we're lucky to have guys that have logged big minutes, that are just tremendous young men that have grown through their formative experiences through our program. And my goal is to have all of our guys, by the time they're seniors, really cherish what their kind of legacy and imprint can be here. And we don't measure that in trophies or numbers or anything like that. We measure that in the impact you have on other people. And that speaks to why we put "we serve" on our practice jerseys, and that's kind of our calling, in that we really are service to one another to bring the best out in each other.
You've brought this program, you and your staff and your players over the last few years have brought this program from the depths of the conference to being one of the best programs in the conference. What is next as far as building to the next level?
Well, obviously recruiting. We got to continue. We have 2 kids committed to date that I think are phenomenal players for next year. Develop. At this level, I think we take great pride in developing our players and trying to get them to become better and better daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And I think, every stage of progress and, trying to take the next step, so to speak, is really reliant on a number of factors. We certainly would like to have a presence in the national tournament and have that experience and be able to play for a national championship, and but like the last 5 years, I think we've competed handily and significantly for league championships, and you kind of knock on the door for a few years, and then we were able to break through, and hopefully we can continue to do that in the future. But to be honest with you, I'm more concerned with just trying to get the best out of what we have, to try to continue to recruit outstanding young men and players. And we just kind of very process oriented and trying to put most of our energy into just bringing the best out of each other, and let the chips fall where they may with regards to championships or national tournament or things of that nature. We have those aspirations, but they're whispers in our program. I think the things we shout about are about really trying to make improvements daily, to treat each other really well, to do things that are bigger than basketball, and to elevate one another to our highest potential.
Well, it's really seemed like that's been going on early this season, just from observing practices and such. It seems like you've got a group that's filled with a lot of camaraderie and support as well. The Wildcats start their competitive play on the 20th here in the House of Hustle against Portland Bible College, but they'll have an exhibition this Saturday against Northwest University in Kirkland, Washington. And conference play starts this year on the weekend of the 3rd and 4th up at Puget Sound, and then here against Lewis and Clark in McMinnville. Coach, thanks for the time today.
Thank you, Joe. Great to be here.